Imagine this. You're scrolling through the news and you stumble upon yet another conspiracy theory. You roll your eyes and think, yeah, sure, like that's really happening. But what if I told you that some of the wildest conspiracy theories in motor days turned out to be absolutely true? Grab your popcorn, because today we're diving into 5 modern-day conspiracies that turned out to be true. And trust me, these aren't the kind of theories your crazy uncle shares over family dinner. Let's uncover the truth, piece by piece, and reveal the shocking stories that had the world questioning everything. 1. The CIA's MKUltra mind control program. Remember that time you thought the CIA was just a bunch of guys in suits sipping coffee, plotting diplomacy? Think again. The MKUltra program, which ran from the 1950s to the 1970s, was an actual conspiracy that involved the CIA experimenting on unwitting citizens to test mind control techniques using drugs, hypnosis, and various forms of psychological manipulation, because apparently just talking to people wasn't enough. At the time, it was a wild conspiracy theory that the government would brainwash people to turn them into secret agents. I mean, who needs Hollywood movies when you have real-life mind games going on? Fast forward to the 1970s when documents were uncovered, confirming that the CIA had indeed been testing LSD on unsuspecting individuals. No, this wasn't the plot of a forgotten James Bond movie, folks. This was real life. Fun fact, a bunch of these experiments were conducted at universities, turning your college psychology professor into a possible candidate for CIA experimentation. Talk about dropping acid on your tuition fees. 2. Watergate scandal. Oh, Watergate. A word that once just referred to a hotel and now brings to mind images of a disgraced president, political espionage, and the idea that maybe, just maybe, the government might not always have your best interests at heart. The theory that the Nixon administration was involved in a break-in at the Democratic National Committee headquarters. At the time, people thought, no way the president is that careless. But he was. Eventually, the scandal blew up, in the same way that a balloon definitely pops when you poke it with a pin, and it was revealed that not only had Nixon's cronies committed the break-in, but they had also actively covered it up. The result? A president's resignation, the installation of new security protocols, and a public who, quite frankly, never quite looked at politics the same way again. Fun fact, the term Watergate has since become a catch-all for political scandals. So if your next local politician gets caught taking extra snacks from the vending machine, don't be surprised if it gets branded as Snackgate. 3. The FBI's COINTELPRO, counterintelligence program, is a great example of how the government can sometimes be just a tad too enthusiastic about protecting national security. The conspiracy? The FBI secretly infiltrated and spied on civil rights groups, activists, and political organizations in the 1960s and 1970s. It was the equivalent of your nosy neighbors spying on you because you dared to plant a peace sign in your yard. Many of us probably thought this was just a paranoid exaggeration until, in the 1970s, documents were released proving that the FBI had indeed been spying on Martin Luther King Jr., the Black Panther Party, and countless others. Their goal? To disrupt civil rights movements, discredit activists, and in some cases even instigate violence. Because why peacefully protest when you can, well, manipulate the entire situation? Fun fact, if you ever wondered why the man always seemed to be in your business, it's because, well, the man was actually watching. A little unsettling, right? 4. Big Tobacco's knowledge of the dangers of smoking. Here's one you probably saw coming. Big Tobacco, the companies who made billions by convincing people that smoking was as cool as James Dean and as harmless as a friendly game of Monopoly. The conspiracy theory? That tobacco companies knew smoking was bad for you decades before they started putting warning labels on cigarettes. And guess what? Surprise, surprise, they did. In fact, they knew it so well, they actively worked to hide the truth from the public. It wasn't until the 1990s when internal tobacco company documents were released, revealing that they had been fully aware of the health risks of smoking since the 1950s. They also funded studies to cast doubt on the research linking smoking to cancer. Oh, and they had secret meetings with politicians to avoid regulation. No big deal, right? Fun fact, The tobacco industry's efforts to discredit health research were so effective that they made conspiracy theorists look like the good guys. Take that, Flat Earth Society, Doreen 5. NSA's mass surveillance. The idea that the National Security Agency, NSA, was secretly spying on American citizens? At one point, this was dismissed as a wild conspiracy theory, akin to thinking that your toaster is trying to start a revolution. But in 2013, whistleblower Edward Snowden dropped a bombshell by revealing that the NSA was indeed collecting vast amounts of phone data, emails, and other communications without proper oversight. The government had been monitoring millions of people's communications, claiming it was for national security. But hey, maybe they also got curious about what you were texting your ex. Either way, once Snowden made the revelations public, it became clear that privacy had taken a back seat to a broad, overreaching surveillance program. Fun fact, the NSA might be watching you right now, so maybe don't search for how to make the world's most impractical rocket launcher on Google. Just a thought.